over the years, I have recognized that when people say that they're called to do this work and they take this long hiatus, there's a lot of imposter syndrome that shows up. It's a lot of like, I don't know if I can. And then you have some people that will project and put themselves out there, but on the back end, they're struggling with a whole bunch of stuff and they don't know if they can actually lead people to the result.
After so much time, you spend your whole career, your whole life being graded against a rubric that's unfamiliar to you, that like you're being compared to your peers, you're being compared to other people who are even outside of your sphere of influence. And like, because it's like we're conditioned to operate in this way where, how do I perform in contrast to this other person? Greetings and salutations, good people. My name is Ernest Comer III, and this is the Pancakes from Scratch podcast. I love to talk to good people doing incredible things. Today is no exception. I got my good friend, my people's name, Miss J. Butler. What's happening with you?
Hello, I'm good. I'm good. Thank you for having me, Ernest.
Wonderful. I'm glad. And of course, I had to bring you on in here. How long have we known each other? Goodness, wait a minute. You gonna send me off?
26. I know I was living in Texas at the time, so it'd be like 2016-ish.
Goodness, it's been some
Mhm.
years. It's been
Yep.
some years.
Mhm.
It's all good. I'm glad. I appreciate you making the time and getting online with me. I appreciate it.
No worries.
Um, so before we dive in, go too crazy, I like to start with what's giving you energy this week.
Ooh, that's a good question. What's giving me energy? Um, just being clear.
Mm,
Hmm.
okay.
Just
Okay.
being clear. And I know that's kind of an open-ended piece right there, but what's giving me energy, I think that when you start to move and be fluid in what your purpose is, what the now is calling for, you had to get clear first. And so
Yeah.
clarity was something that I was seeking and I got it. And that has literally reignited my
I
purpose
love
in it.
it.
Hmm.
I love it. So what's your process? Like where does clarity come from for you?
Well, for me, I like to surround myself with thinkers. So
Mm,
very intelligent people and having conversations with individuals that are probably light years ahead of me. So I was given the opportunity by even my mentor slash coach and now friend. We went to North Carolina this past week.
okay.
And it was for a 2-day kind of an accelerator, business accelerator from a podcaster. And I don't know if you probably have heard of him. His name is David Nagel, the Successful Mind podcast. And so ended up going to, he had a 2-day accelerator. So my process was I was just going to be open.
Mm,
And the experience there was absolutely amazing. And it was really more so about what do you truly want? And that question is probably one of the hardest questions to answer because most of us have been rooted in you got to do what you got to do. And this is what it takes. And you just have to go forward because, you got to do this and you got to do that. But what do you want is a question that now involves your imagination.
mm.
And times like this, we have been discouraged from moving in our imagination. So, to answer your question, I think to get clarity, you have to first be curious
Okay.
and be open to the possibilities of what's coming in and be able to allow people to sow those seeds and then you
Yeah.
filter from there and you're like, okay, this is what it is, like literally. So
Mm,
that's it.
okay. I like that. And I'm also hearing like it's a call for imagination, it's a call for creativity as well, right? It has to before it can exist in the physical world, it has to exist in that intangible. And so
Mhm.
it requires that creativity, that imagination to be able to see it before you can see it. I love
That's
that.
mhm.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. Good
Yeah.
stuff.
And
Good stuff.
imagination too. I was going to give you this too, that, like you said, imagination is that creativity thing, and also
Yeah.
pulling from resources that you already have to create the new thing. Because it could be what you're already doing and you need to refine it so that you can articulate it better. Like the
But you know
vision.
what?
Hmm.
So many of us overlook what we already have. It's too many of us that we just don't value what exists already. And so we spend so much time trying to chase something that feels out of reach because we don't value the things that's already in our hands.
That's it.
That's heavy. I love it. Okay. Okay. Well, that sounds like you had a real cool experience. I'm glad that worked out for you. Um, and I know you got a lot of things moving professionally. And I know that I had an incredible experience working with you as a coach. And I know that everybody who I saw have an experience working with you as a coach was having a good experience. And I just want to give you a shout out for the impact that you're having, the impact you had on me, the impact you had on all these people. But I know it's not always easy to get to that place where you can do that, where you can like create these spaces that really help to shift how folks operate, how they think, and what they're able to execute on. I'm super curious if there's when you think about some of the challenges you've had to face, whether it's personal or professional, is there one that sticks out in your mind as something that helped to shape who you are or help to prepare you for doing the work that you do?
That's good. That's a good question. First of all, thank you. I humbly receive that. Um, to be a coach, first of all, I mean, you're using a full body to do that. And so over the years, I have recognized that when people say that they're called to do this work and they take this long hiatus, there's a lot of imposter syndrome that shows up. It's a lot of like, I don't know if I can. And then you have some people that will project and put themselves out there, but on the back end, they're struggling with a whole bunch of stuff and they don't know if they can actually lead people to the result. So over the years, obviously being a Black woman, you go through an evolution of you've been conditioned to go to college, get the degrees, all of these things. You do all the right things.
Yeah.
And I would pride myself in saying that was my journey. I did all the right things. I was the example.
Yeah.
And then I got to a place where I was tired of being the example because I felt like it was running me into the ground. I had to
Mm,
so much of the expectation for myself was so high. But why was it high? Because it was high because other people's opinion and perception of me matter more than my own mental health.
ooh, ooh, okay. Yeah.
So my emotions, my view of myself was only given to me and only lived out and operated in per someone else's perception. So if I was in, I'm just going to throw some things out there because this is a reality for me, or was a reality for me, getting married and staying married to the wrong person, all because somebody else expected me to do that.
Mm,
Or staying in a 9 to 5 in a very toxic leadership situation when I had to do that because my family expected me to do that. It was a brag book to tell people that Jay was this and Jay got a promotion and Jay got this award. But in reality, I'm going to bed crying because I got to get up and report to work the next day. So, and I knew that destiny was calling me on this side to trust, that God was calling me to trust. So those things had to unravel and take part the hurt. I had to go through the embarrassment. I had to go through the shame. I had to go through feeling betrayed. I had to go through all the ugly stuff that we don't want to go through in order to say, okay, now I'm establishing a new truth for myself. What does that look like? So
mm,
then I had to go through like a recreation of what I wanted my life to look like. And I had to be open to getting into spaces of new people that I've never experienced before when I was in my corporate life, and surround myself with individuals that did create their life and see what their process was like. And so Ernest, from that coaching standpoint, is you're always doing the work on yourself. Even anybody that's starting a business or even growing a business or even in corporate American leadership, you're always learning. But most importantly, you're always learning about yourself. You're always learning about yourself. You're evolving over time. I'll be 40 in a couple of months. I'm not the same woman that I was when I was 30.
That's it. Yep.
So to hold space for multiple personalities that are in different stages, you have to have your own emotional stability. And that's something I had to learn. Had to learn how to root myself emotionally while you have people on the outside going through all these emotions and playing the blame game, issues with themselves. And as a leader, not the leader, but a leader, how do you now go from trying to impress people and be the example for other people, but be an example rooted in your own identity? That it's okay to be yourself. It's okay to lead from your authenticity. Even as a Black woman, I don't have to appease someone else to accept me for who I am. I'm rooted in who I am because I accept that.
That's it. That's it. I think there's so many of us who, but I'll say, I know I struggle with this. I won't call it like an identity crisis. What I will say is that I knew that if I wanted to achieve something different, I had to become someone different.
Mm-hmm.
And that truth existed in conflict with, I gotta remain true to who I am. Right. And so what does it mean to remain true to who I am and be willing to change and grow? Like, so I like that. It's something I know I struggle with. I believe a lot of people struggle with. Is like, how do I grow and change and stay the same at the same time? Like, what does that even look like?
Ooh. So to become a different person with staying true to who you are. So in reality, who you are is really not the actual person that you're supposed to be. Like, you're not supposed to be who you are when you're not flowing in the abundance, flowing in prosperity, flowing in. That's to be yourself at this level where it's always, what Black folks say, if it ain't one thing, it's another, that mentality. When you're stuck in the lack and I can't have it because this is going on and it's just always something, or nobody will choose me for a job, or nobody will choose me for this management role, or nobody will, hire me to be a consultant, or blah, blah, blah. That is not who you truly are. Who you actually are is the authority.
Oh, okay. Wait, we gonna have to make sure we gonna clip that up and replay that. They needed to hear that 2 times.
The authority is who you are. So who's the authority? The authority is, okay, you told me no, but there is a yes around the corner. All I have to do is move this person out the way and just go to the person behind you. That there is no that exists in my world. I don't even know, like, what color is no? There's no, like, I can't not, there is absolutely nothing good that's being withheld from me. So my color, my Blackness is this is a body. My soul has a body. It just roots me here and keeps me legal here. But I can have whatever I want. All things good.
That's it.
So who I am is someone who is not saying that I'm commanding from a place of, arrogance, but I am coming from a place of confidence. Like, if a person is telling me that this is just not going to work, it's too expensive. Okay, for you it is. I get that. We're not changing this.
Come
So
on.
if this is not going to work, we need to just go to someone else that's going to work for.
Yeah. And
Simple.
that's just it. Yep. Absolutely. Now, okay. Share for me just what it is you do. Like if somebody wanted to work with Jay, they done heard me talk about how have you as coach something, but how do you explain what it is you do, folks?
So I just tell people that I help, solopreneurs and leaders to basically grow their businesses using messaging, and helping them with their authority. And it's, yes, sales is sales, but there's also a commanding power to it. So I'm a business and a mindset coach because I do believe that 75% of business is mind. 25% business is strategy. You gotta be able to get into your client's mind and to, your customer's mind and convince them that, and not really just convince them, but show them that your way works.
Okay.
That's it.
So the mindset is the key, but in
Mhm.
order to have an impact on the mindset of the person that you're engaging, you also have to adopt a mindset to be able to execute on that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's just basically, we're knowledgeable, right? All like most people that have made money for other people in corporate America, you know how to build wealth.
Yep.
I mean, you know how to build wealth. It wasn't for yourself, but it was for somebody else. There's somebody at the top of the pyramid that's reaping the benefits, which is what capitalism is all about. It's goods and services in exchange for currency. However, I have all these people supporting my vision and supporting my wealth journey by incorporating skill and hiring skill. The person at the top of the pyramid doesn't have to have got a degree to first, but they hire people with degrees and with skill sets to be employed for the high level, low level, whatever skill set. However, most of those people that's down in that hierarchy, in that downward cycle, if you will,
Yeah.
they have the capacity to make everybody money that's at the top. However, because they have been rooted to provide case studies and to prove that this concept work or that framework works or that this is the process, they're rooted in proof. So in order for something to be done on the team or something to be, and this is why sometimes with Black people, we have such an issue with doing things on our own because we've been rooted to we got to have proof first. Because we've told them, well, give me some proof. Or if you want to make changes on this, let's see how it works. Let's try it out first before we give you this position, or let's try this out before we implement it all the way. Let's pilot it out. Let's have all of that. But that person had an idea. And when that idea comes into fruition in your mind, the way of the perfection of it being carried out and implemented correctly is already there. But people stop you on the outside and they tell you to do all these conditional things. And now you have to be like, well, dang, I mean, now I got to find a way to prove it. So now you start to lose trust in yourself because what if they don't like it? What if they don't buy into it? What if they don't invest in me? What if I don't get the raise? What if I don't get paid for it? They carry this out also into entrepreneurship land thinking, okay, well, I got to prove this first. Well, do I know it's going to work? Because it's been ingrained in you. So unfortunately, it's the fact of the matter is that we have to continue to trusting in ourselves to do the unknown is our biggest challenge.
Ooh, man, but it feels like such a huge barrier to overcome. After so much time, you spend your whole career, your whole life being graded against a rubric that's unfamiliar to you, that like you're being compared to your peers, you're being compared to other people who are even outside of your sphere of influence. And because it's like we're conditioned to operate in this way where, how do I perform in contrast to this other person? Or, how well do I do what I'm supposed to do in contrast to what the standard of expectation is for this
Mhm.
other person who I report to. Breaking out of that mentality, that's going to take a journey. It definitely takes a journey. So for you, I wonder, what does that journey look like over time? What are the stops? What are the milestones that you've seen?
Mm. Well, the milestones, the different places, the memories that I've had to adopt in order to get to where I am. So I think what I had to do first was realize that the life that I was living was completely stressing me out.
Mm,
Now, you're giving up a level of comfort for a new level of comfort. So the comfort,
they gonna miss that. They gonna miss that. You giving up a level of comfort for a new level of comfort. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go tell them.
so the comfortable life is the safe life, the middle class, the I don't want to shake the tree too much. I don't want to make nobody feel bad. I don't want to, everything was for someone else to consider because, everybody said, well, don't go in there thinking you know everything.
Mm-hmm.
To make nobody feel, it's always external at the demise of you. So the first thing for me that I had to come to grips with was the fact that I cannot thrive in an environment where limitations were placed on me.
Okay.
Because there's no, and I'm going to be 100%, any system that is designed to put a cap on your creativity and your ability to be prosperous in a realm where abundance is absolutely evident all around you, that is a system you need to find yourself out. And I already know that people are going to say, well, I got a house. I'm going to say, okay, whatever. But even that house that you have, or even those things that you have, your cars inside, they can still be overcame. You can still keep your house. Nobody's saying give up your house. You can still keep it.
Ain't that the first thing?
Survival.
That's the first stage of panic. Is like, I'm gonna lose my house. I'm gonna lose my fortress.
We're more focused on what we're going to lose as opposed to what we're going to gain. You're doing the same thing. You're just doing it for yourself. So the thing is that this was the quote over these 2 days when I went to that accelerator. When he said this, I about threw my notebook to the other side of the room. He said, no desire is felt until the supply is ready to appear.
Ooh. Ooh. Okay.
So the desire that we have to be more, to have more, to even you're at a meeting at your job and you know that you were called to entrepreneurship, you were called to have an uncapped potential, uncapped life. And you looking at like, I can do this. And you thinking this, I can do this. Like I know what I'm doing. Like, why can't I just branch out? And then it starts getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And then you just get to a place where now your body feels it because all of this is within you. Your body starts aching, you start getting headaches. That's the manifestation of the disobedience that you're not doing. You're just not moving in your obedience.
Come on.
So the desire is, I know I'm supposed to be doing this. I know I need my own business. I need to be consulting, I need to be doing this.
Yep.
When that comes, at that moment, that means that the supply, you're either a channel or a block.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're not going to act on it, your body, your soul, your spirit is going to wreak havoc. Because now you're stopping it from experiencing something that it wants to experience. So as a result, you get sick, you get stressed out. Then the warfare comes heavy from leadership because all that energy is exchange. So they start micromanaging. And then you get a new manager and they don't like you. And then all this other stuff, and they start nitpicking everything you're doing, because that is an indication, like, you stay too long, you need to be out of here.
Yeah.
Your assignment is due.
Oh, okay.
So for
All
me, it had to come by way of me becoming a single mother, or a woman who is a mother, and having to raise my child alone, and having to believe that the God of abundance can take care of me in spite of.
Mm.
That was a hard pill to swallow. So I had to
Yeah.
make it up in my mind and say, you know what, I'm a mom, yes, and it's just me. So what makes me think that God is going to drop the ball on me? Why do I feel like God's going to drop the ball on me from a desire that was planted in me to do this?
That's
Because I
it.
didn't think of, because obviously I'm scared. I'm at the meeting again. I'm like, I got to turn this resignation notice in, because I don't, and it's like God is saying, do it. The way is not going to be open to you until you actually take the step.
Mm. Man, okay. Ooh, okay. Okay. There's so many different seasons that we have to work through. And when we find ourselves, like you said, experiencing that thought of like, man, there's more that I'm supposed to be doing. And when we fail to move at the season when we're called, that discomfort sets in, and then you're forced to make decisions. Maybe you don't want to make the decisions you have to make, but that at some point you're gonna get pushed. And you better figure out what you're gonna do. Because that push is coming.
It's divine timing.
Yeah.
So there's a time period. So the people say, people say, oh, well, there's the time is a man concept. It is. You're absolutely right. But there is divine timing.
Mm.
Because if you're in this plane, right? And that's why I tell people, like, sometimes we can be so spiritual that we in the woo-woo, and we woo-woo too heavy.
Okay.
And if you keep people in the woo-woo up there, you're gonna kill them down here. They're gonna die. Because you got to feed yourself.
Yeah.
There's a wherewithal. So the seasons of, you need to be going ahead and doing this. You need to be doing this. Or, let's just wait a minute. No, I need to. So it's the longer that you take here, because there's only a lot of time that you have here.
Yeah.
We think too hard when we don't need to be thinking too hard. We need to be doing more and creating more. This is a life of creation. None of this stuff matters. The recession doesn't matter. Nobody cares about that. I don't care about that. But the season is this. The season is, life is way too fickle for me to be thinking too hard about what I'm supposed to be doing. I just need to learn how to do it.
Just gotta
And
go.
master what I'm doing.
Okay. Do you have an experience that you would say you're most grateful for? Something that you it could have been a challenge that you went through, or it could have been just something that really sort of symbolized an elevation.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I do.
Come to
I
mind?
actually do. So 2021. So that was a bittersweet year for me, and I got to see a lot of my full potential, lived out. So 2021 was a year hit like 215K in like 10 months, and then we ended the year with like 300. Like, it was crazy, but you reach that level of performance because it was already in you, right? You already, like, I had that in me. I'm a high performer anyway, that I knew. But nobody prepared me for the external backlash I was going to receive from family, friends, all of that. When you reach that level of greatness and people start to see you walking in that reward, and if you don't have the proper discernment and proper training to be able to discern people's conversation and how they really truly feel about you and navigate through that emotionally, you're going to crash, which is what I end up doing. Because you got to remember, Ernest, just like I said earlier, is that my life was all about people pleasing. I had my father's a pastor, my mom's first lady, and all this. So everything was rooted with the example. I had to be the example. So the backlash that I received from my environment was like, now you think you're too much. Well, don't forget about this. And what's this? And remember this. And so it was a lot of external stuff that I was not ready for. And then on top of that, I had clients that were struggling with a whole bunch of stuff at that particular time. I had invested in someone, in a person's service that did not deliver what I asked. And that was a lot of money. It was like maybe $12,000 at stake. So that messed me up. And then I had a very, very emotional, like a volatile fight. It wasn't physical, but it almost went there with a family member. So I ended up could not do anything. I shut the business down, released all my clients at that time, and said, I need a break. Well, the break turned into homelessness. So I ended up living in a hotel room for maybe 2.5 months. My partner at the time I was in a relationship with did come to the rescue, help me out. And I remember crying my eyes. I had to take send my daughter to live with her dad for those couple of months. And that was hard for her because she's a mama's baby. So it was one night I was bawling my eyes out. I was like, God, I'm done. Like I'm gonna unalive myself. I'm done. I'm over it. And I woke up in the middle of the night and it was like that voice. And God said, Spirit said, you can speak your way out of this. And I'm like, first I'm looking around like, who here? And it was too loud. It was loud, but it was, and I said, huh? And I got up and immediately I was drawn to write it down. You can speak your way out in the dark. Now I'm just trying to find a pen and paper, and I had one just so happened next to the bed. And Ernest, I kid you not, I began to say, I have a beautiful home. I live in a luxury townhome. I'm good. My business is thriving all over again. Like this, I'm speaking this stuff now. And in that hotel room, I revamped my business. And then all of a sudden, money started coming. I ain't talking about no little money. I'm talking about big money. Now I'm in a hotel room, credit jacked up, negative $1,000 in my business account. Like, how am I going to flush all this out and eat? And I'm like, how is this going to happen? So what happened was that I just said, bump it. Honeybook reached out to me because I didn't have a way. I didn't have a way to send contracts. You got to pay for that stuff, right? You had to pay. Okay. Honeybook reached out to me for an educator, like a certified, like an educator kind of position, right? And it really wasn't a position. It was more like a brand ambassador kind of thing.
Gotcha.
So for me to be brand ambassador, I had to, tell people about Honeybook and all this other stuff. So free, they supported me for free to be able to share their product. So that there was my contract, invoicing, all of that right there. So I ain't have to pay for nothing.
Come on.
I'm looking at it. I'm like, the first thing I asked, I said, God, how am I ain't got no contract. Like, I got to pay for that. You see, my account is stupid. It's dumb. And if I'm supposed to be doing this, I need something to happen. I need something to happen. I can't accept clients with nothing. Guarantee you that very next day, I got an email from Honeybook and I became brand ambassador like within that 3 days.
Goodness gracious.
I signed my $7,000 client that very next Friday. It was the day after Thanksgiving.
And it just, the floodgates just open. Oh,
Right. It gets greater. So I started to sign clients back to back to back, one-on-one clients. And then coming into February, I was like, okay, I'm getting these clients. Like, now I need somewhere to serve them because I can't be in this hotel room. And I told God, like, this is it.
yep.
Like, I can't. We got to do something. Next thing I knew, I was on the phone with my partner. He was like, what do you want to do? I said, I got to get off the phone with you. So I hung up in his face. And I was like, all right. I said, I need to calm myself down. And the thing about it is, Ernest, is that to manifest, and when I say manifest, I hate that word because I think it's overused, but to bring whatever you want in, you got to have a calm body.
Mhm.
You got to have a calm body. When your body is tight, that means it's fearful of something. So I had to breathe and I had to ask God, I said, God, where am I living? And it ain't going to be in no hood. So you need to tell me where we're going.
Yep.
And immediately God gave me this place I'm staying in now. This place was on my vision board a year before that. I've always wanted to stay here. The address was already in the system when they told me that they was doing the approval process. And I looked in the system and it was like my ad, like they had an address here. And I'm like, why is that address here? I said, they ain't even approved me yet. And I'm like, God, am I approved or am I not? So I'm calling the lady, like, is everything? She was like, yeah, it's still processing. God said, you already have it. There it is, right? You already
the supply exists. Come on. Oh.
No desire is felt until the supply is ready to appear.
Woo. That's wild. That is wild to me. Man. Okay. Goodness, great. Okay. All right. I love it. That's a journey. Okay. That's like, and that like we have to, it can be tough to appreciate all that we go through as it's happening. But without having gratitude for what those moments look like, it keeps us from being able to appreciate where we are, what we have, so that the next thing we can make room for, we have access to it. Like it requires gratitude for what you have now in order to access what comes next. Like it's necessary.
It's necessary. You have to
Man,
have that. Yeah.
oh my goodness. Okay. Ooh, all right, let me calm down. Listen, one of the things that I like to get into with Pancakes from Scratch is this intersection between, culture and food culture and ambition, right? Like there's something there, and I haven't really ironed it out. I'm still thinking through it, but there's something to be said about like how our culture is impacted by the food that we eat and the way we engage with each other, and how those experiences create the type of person that we become and what we aspire to achieve. Right. So there's something there. I'm still exploring it, but all that to say, did you have like a favorite food growing up as a kid?
That's a really good question. Favorite food?
Mm-hmm.
Barbecue chicken.
Barbecue chicken. Now, when you say barbecue chicken, because I already know. Barbecue chicken ain't the same. Everybody don't have the same idea in their head when they talk about barbecue chicken. First of all, who's grilling? Okay, that's the first question. But also, is this like barbecue chicken at a backyard get together? Is this restaurant barbecue chicken? What are we talking about?
Okay, so first question was who's grilling? And obviously not me. So definitely it was probably my dad or someone like that. But barbecue chicken for me is and this is crazy. Yes, on the grill for sure. Slather with the barbecue sauce, grilled out, meat just falling off the bone.
Yeah.
That always that's that smile on my face right there.
See, and that the thing is with us, with our people, it's never about just the food itself. It's never just like, oh, this tastes really good. It's like I can imagine what the grill smells like. I can imagine the feeling of my father bringing the food from the grill into the house. I can imagine the conversation that was had while we were eating some grilled chicken. I imagine like what the experience was. Like it's a whole experience. It's never just it tasted good. It's always more than that. So I think there's something to like that experience for you having grilled chicken,
Mhm.
especially as a preacher's kid. That's a whole nother, okay, that's a whole nother layer. But that experience, I think my belief is those experiences that you had help to create the person that we talking to today.
Mhm. Agreed. I think one of the things that comes up for me is like imagining my dad would come in with a big tray full of, chicken that's been grilled on that grill, is anticipation and communing with family about, and of course surface level stuff, but even just what's going on in people's life. Or, girl, did you see what came on TV? Did you see what they were talking about on this? It's always kind of a catch up. It's a humor. It's funny. It's laughs. And
Mm-hmm.
as driven as I am, and having, the business side, it's always good to have my family in a bucket where, it's laughs,
Yeah.
it's jokes, it's what's going on in the kids' world and what they do at school that was funny. So it's definitely that family, the joking mechanism and that system and all of that. So it's just fun. It's literally
Yeah.
just fun. And that is a side to who I am, because I still like to make people laugh. Like, I know I'm very serious and deep when I get on conversations like this, but there is a side of me that's really super silly. That's just who I am. But that's all included in who I am. I don't have
Yeah.
to make something up to be with family. That's just an aspect of who I am.
Come on. That's it, man. Okay. I love it. I love it because see, now I'm like, yeah, food off the grill, the warmth, the hospitality, the like you said, the humor, the connection, the community, all of that. Uh yeah, all of that I think creates some values that like they stick with you.
Yeah.
They stick with you. And then it helps to create your approach for how you engage clients, with how you engage people in your life in general. And so I think I need to give a shout out to your father for grilling the way he did, because I know it had an impact on the way I was coached.
That's right.
That's it. That's it.
And
Shout out to him.
yeah.
I love it. I love it. Well, listen, I ain't gonna hold you too much longer. I appreciate you making time to just connect with me, chat it up a little bit. Any final thoughts, last words you want to share before you head out?
Whew. Well, I will say this is to kind of dig a little bit with the quote with the desire,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
desire piece of being whatever you desire, the way is made already. But first, you have to ask yourself the question, what am I tolerating in my life that's keeping me from moving into a life full of desire? And it first starts with giving yourself permission that the desire is deserving. You're deserving of that desire. So that's what I want to leave with.
I received that. I appreciate it. How do people get in touch with you?
Oh gosh. Well, work with Elocin.com. That's ELOCIN.com. You can follow me on Instagram, which is I am J Butler, which is Jaibutler, and Facebook, which is Jayna Butler, Jayna Butler. And that's where you can find me and get in touch with me.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you so much, Jay. You take care. We'll talk soon. All right.
Sounds good. Thank you, Ernest.
Yeah.